Apex, the peak of South African motoring.
Marius?
Van.
Which one?
No, I'm definitely talking to you because I think with the new Kia Carnival, it's less of a van. It's a people carrier.
Yeah.
But I think compared to its rivals, it feels more car-like, which I love.
Absolutely. I personally don't ever foresee myself buying a van or a combi or anything along those lines, but it's more of like that people mover. It's more kind of getting in the holiday mode, kind of like going for a road trip without feeling like you're that typical person hoeing in a van. No, this hits a sweet spot, like that van SUV kind of vibe, which I think everybody's got some appetite for. But you've got R1 million budget. How much change will you have after this?
This comes in at exactly 999,995 rand.
Okay, so you've got
I'm not the best with math. I have to say that. So it's R5 to spare.
Listen, you and an ex-president of ours, we were going that route.
But I think what you get for your money is a lot.
Yeah.
Like you really do get a lot first. And I mean, this is the model that sits second from the top, the SX Limited, which comes exclusively in 7 seats. And I mean, it's such a lovely car. It's really, and that's why I want to call it a car rather than a van or even a people mover. It's a car with 7 seats because it feels car-like when you drive it, and the way you sit in the car as well. It doesn't feel like you're sitting on the nose like its rivals. You sit nice and low, and you still have a very commanding driving position of the road. So I definitely think if someone is looking for a car like this is possibly the one.
Kind of, yeah. Top of the food chain, I'd say. If that's kind of your ticks that you want, like a car that isn't like a typical van, but it is a van. No, it hits a sweet spot. But design, this looks so cute. This is like, if we can like block this off, this is probably one of my kiffest designs on any car.
Yeah, it looks very good.
I can just see kids' handprints there though, because that's all like, anyhow. Design line, wheel arches, like I kind of dig the subtle art. So it's not like standing out too much, but it kind of still creates that 3D feel. Wheels are pretty gnarly. I dig that cut to it. I don't know, what else do you dig?
I do like the exterior. I like the interior as well, for that matter. But I think the design of it's so much more progressive than what we previously expected from Kia.
Yeah.
And I think it's not just with the Carnival, it's with the whole lineup. If you look at the Sorento with the Telluride inspired rear, if you look at the Sonnet, the Seltos, it's all really beautiful cars.
Yeah.
And I think especially the way the front end is designed, like the chrome trim bits on the grille, those striking LED daytime running lights, it looks so good. And I mean, it's distinct to this car, and if you see it on the road, if you see it driving or in the evening, you'll definitely know what car it is. So, and what I really do like about Kia is that, for example, if you look at the Sonnet, the Seltos, you look at their flagship SUV, the Sorento, and then their people carrier, the Carnival, they're not derivative.
Yeah.
They have their individual looks, which I really do love, because these days it feels like manufacturers are basically, they have, especially with
kind
sedans,
of a base model and then kind of build off,
and then a bigger version of that, and in the interiors as well. And if you look at the interior of the Carnival compared to, for example, the Sorrento, the design language is different. Yes, you have similar features, but the design language is different, which I really do like. It feels like more thought has been put into it. And
Dit praat my taal. This design
my
language is mine. Look, I dig it. I think it's Kif. I think all that's left to do is kind of take it on the road, and then we can...
Yes.
I want to sit in the back later, and you can drive me around. I'll wave at everyone.
Okay, let's go.
So, how tidy is this cabin?
It looks so good, and the interior build quality is so solid as well. And I think the car is so spacious. There's a few things that I think people in this market might want for. I'm not sure. Like for example, with the Opel Zafira that just arrived in South Africa, the Mercedes-Benz V-Class, they have, and the Caravelle, they have that table set up between the two middle captain's chairs. And I think where it comes in is how many times are you really going to use it, because it takes up space, so you can't really walk through. I mean, you can't walk through here, but I mean, my experience in the Carnival on a extended drive in it, I didn't miss it at all. And I mean, having tested the Zafira as well, and sampling that car, I never really used that table setup. I mean, it's probably a nice to have, but I don't think you'll miss it if it's not there. I think
listen, you'll have to learn to deal, because we can't have it all. And I like the fact that you can walk through. Like, obviously, if you're sitting in the back, you can make your way through there. I dig that. That's probably like one of the unique selling points to me, that I think, especially for families, that's Kif. Not that you want to entice a kid to go walking about like on your way to Clearwater for the weekend to take the boat. No, but it is like, I dig that. I think it's also like kind of a lot easier to kind of chat with the people behind you, and it creates more of an inclusive feel, where I feel like if it's 3 solid rows, which effectively that table that's in the middle with the other cars does make it a solid row almost. So so I dig the inclusivity.
I think the one thing where it comes in, maybe, and especially in the V-Class, is that I think the V-Class is a car that's used by, I mean,
kind of more executive.
It's a more
vibes.
executive. Not that the Kia isn't executive at all, but what I mean with it is that it'll be like business people sitting in the back with their laptops and they are working, but the focus with the Carnival is enjoying a road trip with family. And who wants to work on a road trip? Exactly.
So Kia has created the perfect people moving vehicle that will actually make you cut off.
I think it's, as Kia said on the local launch as well, a car like this is built and best enjoyed with loved ones. And I think that's the essence of the car. That's the essence of the car. It can do a lot of things, and it does all of them very, very well. But I think there's a certain essence to the car that Kia has focused on, and that worked out perfectly, stunningly. And I mean, the way it drives it, I mean, the new Smart Stream diesel engine of theirs, it's so smooth. There's not, I mean, I haven't realized or noticed any road noise permeating the cabin. It's such
even
a smooth engine.
120 on the highway through like hectic traffic, lots of noise, nothing in this cabin. This cabin is so silent. And I think that's what you're after. Like, you want to kind of be in your little bubble of happiness, and I think the Carnival gives you that. And just the general design of the cabin, I dig it. It's got that nice kind of, it's still a soft touch-ish leather on there. The only thing I don't particularly like, but it's in almost all new cars, it is the finishes when it's like that really gloss, like every
gloss black,
single fingerprint, and especially here where it's by the handle, like the chances are likely that you're going to get fingerprints everywhere. But if that's the only gripe that I've got from like those design elements, like they've done really well. This kind of silver trimming that it's got here, similar to what's on the outside, that little diamond cut. I think the exterior is kind of linked in nicely with the interior, and there's just a synergy going on. And obviously you've got individual sunroofs for the back and for the front, which again I dig, because you always get that one person on a road trip that's like, ja, kom ons ry so met die son in die gesig. Like, you always get that person, so now you can kind of choose, are you going to be that person or not?
I think it's great, and it brings more ambiance to the cabin. And I think especially because of the rear passengers, you're driving in the evening, they want to stargaze, or they want to let some sun in. They do have the option of, like, whereas focusing on the road, driving,
almost,
you can block the sun out. And what I do like about the blinds of the sunroofs is that it's very thick blinds. So even though closed, there's no sunlight coming in.
Nothing's worse than those mesh, and it's like putting these little tan lines on your face. No, thank you.
And I mean, for the model that sits just below the top spec, this car is so well equipped, and it might just be the pick of the bunch. It has heated and ventilated, cooled front seats, and dual zone climate control. This massive touchscreen infotainment system, which looks crisp. It has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto.
By the way,
very user friendly.
And you don't often get that. People overcomplicate things all the time. So very user friendly. And
very interesting van. It can drive itself.
Listen, so I tried it earlier. I nearly had a heart attack, and I was like, I was going to say let's try it, but doesn't it use like the line? So it's like the active line. Do you want to see if it's going to work here? Because
that's the only thing with some of our roads. The 90% markings
of our bloody roads
aren't that clear. But I have tried it, and it works spectacularly.
So did you try it like this? So like I held the steering wheel, and then I was like,
I properly took my hands off the steering wheel, but only for a short while. And it follows the car in front of you at a safe distance. It stays inside the lanes. I was really sitting, I'm like, even though I have experienced it in cars previously, I'm always surprised with it. I'm always surprised with how it works. It's with me, as I mentioned before as well, tapping my debit card. I still don't trust it completely. But the engine, yes, a hard stomp on the throttle. You can hear that diesel churning sound coming through. But on highway speeds, just cruising around, it's so silent. And it produces 148 kilowatts and 440 newton meters from the 2.2 liter diesel.
Which is ample.
It's ample for what you want in this car. And the engine is coupled to a very smooth shifting 8-speed automatic transmission. So I think the as a package it works so well. I know people will look at it and be okay, but it's nearly R1 million for a Kia, and that's unfortunate because
if you kind of base your judgment on that, is a pity, but it is some
such
validity to
good
it,
car. And I think the big thing about it is what Kia said on the local launch as well, is that because their slogan was power to surprise,
And they did so.
They did, but the power of surprise years are also over, because they have a seat at the table now of the big players. And I think this and the Sorrento and I mean myriad other of their cars shows it. And it only builds on the foundation that Kia has established over the years. And I mean, I've seen a few on the road. It looks spectacular. It drives spectacular. The handling is well weighted. The steering, I think, sometimes a bit too light for my liking. But I mean, the ride is soft. Everything is just...
And that is like a matter of preference. It's like you were saying that now, like for your liking. And I'm like, I like that.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
like my ultimate kind of setup.
Yeah.
But listen, it hits a lot of sweet spots. And even on the pricing, like I do think they can justify this. Like if you look
definitely.
at, like I've seen other cars hitting that R1 million mark, and I'm like, I don't know what you're selling, if you're selling a badge or what you're selling, but I think you get a hell of a lot of car for this. So.
Yeah, I mean, this car deserves to do very well. Especially in its segment. I think for me at the moment, for what you get as a package, this is arguably the leader in the segment.
Yeah, try and beat that. Kia, dropping that mic. In audio.
Apex, the peak of South African motoring.